What's up, bud? It's Rob. This is Apparel Success. And this video here is going to give you a really profound lesson that's going to take all of the mental fog that you have and confusion around how to grow a successful clothing brand, and it's going to make it crystal clear for you. And so this video is really going to help those of you who are truly struggling to get sales for your brand and allow you to see a clear solution in how to fix the problem and start making it happen. So here it is. Apparel Success is sponsored by my buds over at DesignCrowd. And if designs are something that you struggle with, then I really recommend that you give them a shot. You post a project on DesignCrowd, amazing designers from all around the world are going to compete for your project. You choose the winner, then you get that design plus revisions. These are some of the best-selling designs on my website, and I got the designs made through DesignCrowd. If you're interested, head over to designcrowd.com/apparel to learn about the special offer that I have for you where you can save up to $100, or simply use the discount code APPAREL when you post a project on DesignCrowd. All right, so the most common problem that I see with clothing brands, and I've done hundreds of reviews at this point, is that their brand concept is off in la-la land somewhere, and that it's off floating around in some abstract world that nobody can relate with. And when you come up with a brand concept and your whole brand is built on this abstract idea that only makes sense to you, that nobody can truly emotionally relate with or identify with themselves, whether that's based on, the deep purpose and message of the brand, or you're building a brand where you're literally just trying to make cool clothing that looks sick, if it's not based on something that people are truly willing to wear and want to wear and trends that are happening and pieces of culture and details of culture, then you're never gonna be able to sell anything to anybody, and nobody's gonna want to buy your clothing brand. Harsh reality right there, but the main reason also why most people aren't selling. So I'd rather tell you that and bring this to focus and help you get over it, which I'm going to do in this video, than just allow you to keep doing this and trying to make something work that just nobody's going to relate with. And the main piece of value that you're going to get out of this video here is by understanding that your clothing brand should be built on observation rather than free-flowing ideas. Your brand should be built on looking at people, looking at culture, looking at your market, looking at yourself, and understanding what you're grounded in and what is common amongst people in terms of how they're relating, what they're valuing, what they're identifying with. So for my own clothing brand, as an example, my clothing brand was a great example when I first started of a brand that was just floating off in la-la land. Oh, I hope I can sell it because it's a Canadian brand and I started it. But the reality was that it just wasn't making sense to people. What I did was I observed my audience, the audience that I'm trying to sell to, and I asked myself, what are the things that they're saying? How are they acting? What do they like? And then when I came out with my future clothing, as I started improving my brand, I came out with clothing that had sayings that people in rural Canada and in the areas that I'm trying to sell to actually use. When I put the sayings of how people speak in rural Canada on my clothing, and I integrated into the designs things that people actually like in rural Canada, like canoeing, being outdoors, things like that, and I integrated all that into the designs, all of a sudden the brand became super relatable. Now all of a sudden people want to buy the clothing because it's something that they actually identify with and because it's grounded in something real that people truly care about. Now, your clothing brand doesn't have to be connecting with people based on this deep message and this deep purpose. There are examples of clothing brands and clothing companies that sell their clothing based on the cuts alone. But they're not just randomly thinking about ideas and cutting their clothing randomly. They're looking to the market to see what the trends are. How do people dress right now? And how can we make little innovations to it, little variations to it, but not do these crazy things where we're making like these bizarre top hats that have like things hanging from them and just weird stuff. Like nobody's being successful doing that. They're always going to be creating something that's based on what people want and what people are truly willing to buy. Here's what I think is at the root cause of all this. People are stuck in this almost delusion about what business really is. Think about what business really is. Business has this big, huge name attached to it. It's like, oh, you're starting a business. That's cool. It's like this formal structure. But what did business come from? It literally came from a value exchange. People came across the sea to a new country, and somebody could build a house, so people would pay to have their house built. If you could offer something, that's what it was. And it was, business is based on offering something real that people truly want to buy, not by just creating random things that people can't connect with and then saying, well, I hope people buy this because, I've started this business and I really want to be successful. I think that is the disconnect that's happening. And, I realize that I'm kind of passionate about this topic, but the whole point of this video is just to really sort of bring you closer and closer to the reality here, which is that if your brand is often this just sort of abstract world that nobody's able to connect with, and you're trying to sell based on these, ideas that just aren't rooted in human psychology and how people are truly feeling and what they identify with and what they want to, jump on board with, then you're basically just going to have a brand that's sitting there on its own, and you're going to be trying to force it down people's throats. And they're just going to say, dude, I don't want it. Or your friends are going to say, yeah, it looks pretty cool, like, great job, man, but they're not going to actually support you. So the only time that you're actually going to get the support for your brand, the true support where people are truly stoked to buy it, is when they really resonate with the message behind it, or they want to truly wear it on their bodies. So to really illustrate this point for you about your brand concept, why exactly is my clothing brand successful right now? The reason why I'm succeeding, the reason why I'm selling a lot of clothing, is because people are resonating with the sayings on the t-shirts, the brand messaging, and it's connecting perfectly. It's synergistic with a true subculture, and it's feeding perfectly into that. Another reason on top of that, simultaneously why it's working, is that nobody's done this before. So I've combined connecting with people in a very real way with doing that in a way that nobody's done it before. That's an amazing combination for a clothing brand. Coming up with an idea based on your observations of a subculture, something that, hasn't really been connected with yet, and then connecting with them for the first time. That's an amazing way to really establish yourself and really start making things work for your brand. So if your clothing brand is often la-la land right now, and it's overly abstract in its brand concept, and it's not connecting with anybody, the roadmap to getting back on track, it's possible. And the way that you want to do that is you want to ask yourself, truly, where exactly did this idea come from for my brand? Why exactly am I passionate about this brand concept? And that, when you ask yourself that, like, where did this come from? Why did I think of this idea? Why do I think it's a good idea? That'll start to bring you back to the true, raw, visceral emotion that the idea stemmed from. And when you do that, you're really going to start to connect with that true sense of identity inside of you that it started from. And then you want to bring your clothing brand back down to reality so that it connects with that piece of identity and with that piece of your personality that it came from. Because the more that you do that, the more that it's very likely other people will share that same identity. And that's when you can start connecting for your clothing brand. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, and drop a like if you got some value out of this video. And if you haven't already, check out my free clothing brand marketing masterclass. All you have to do to get access is go to apparelsuccess.com/masterclass, and you can watch the whole thing for free. And if you've made it to this point in the video, I want to tell you about the closed Facebook group that we have for Apparel Success. There's a link in the description. Follow the link, join us in the group, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.